Okay, so I'm going to go over my favourite knot. It's called the Marlinespike Hitch. Okay, it's a really quick, really simple knot. A bit fiddly to learn, but once you've got it, it's just a fluid little movement. Okay, now if you come into my hand, the Marlinespike Hitch, basically you're going to put thumb down, finger up, and you untwist your fingers to make a little loop, and then fold it over the top of the cord. And where that cord has been folded on top of, you're going to pull that through. Okay, and that is as simple as it gets, because you get a little peg, stick off the ground or whatever, and you place it through, and that will tighten up. And the amount of usage from this is like huge, because let's say that was tied around a log or something heavy. You've then got a handle that you can pull it along with. Okay, you can hang, if your peg's like that, and you can hang something up in a tree like your bag or your food up off the ground just by slipping it through. I'm a bit one-handed, so it's a bit awkward, but through like that, and it just hangs up in the tree. Okay, and not only that, but this knot can really easily come undone like that. Okay, so it's a quick to tie, it's quick to come undone, but there's so many applications. Okay, so I'll go over it once more. I'm going to make a loop, fold that loop over the cord, and pull that one bit through, and that's where you'd put normally where you'd put your stick. Okay, your spike, and then when you pull the spike out, it all comes apart. Okay, but if you want to do a really quick bowline, so rather than doing it not on my face, do it on the knot, rather than doing it the rabbit and tree way, where the rabbit comes out round the tree, back down, and like that, it's a little bit fiddly. With the Marlinespike Hitch, it's a quick motion. I've got my Marlinespike Hitch. Now there, rather than putting a peg through it, you place the end of the cord. Okay, so like the rabbit, you go through, you hold on to the end of the cord and the bit that's still not gone through that loop, and if you pull up, all of a sudden you've got a really, really quick bowline. Okay, so that's an application you can put towards the Marlinespike Hitch. And there's another little bit that I'll show you in a minute, but what I'll show off a little bit with my tarp setup and why it's so good as a scout to know this Marlinespike Hitch and how versatile it is. Right, so this bowline is always set up on the end of my, I'm going to get a little bit of a show off on my tarp setup, but in my bag I've always got my tarp, I've always got my ridge line. Is a combination of different ways of using that Marlinespike Hitch. Okay, so come over here and I'll show you how it happens. Right. Obviously, scouting at home, we're unable to get out and about, so I'm not got the trees that I'd normally have. All right, so in here, my tarp is all stuffed inside. I'll have two ends of my cord. All right. Now, on my one end, like I said, I've always got that little bowline. It's always on the end. Okay, so the lovely thing is I can get that, and more normally I'd go around a tree. Okay, so let's say that's a mini tree. I go around the tree. If you come in, and I'll show, I pass the cord through that bowline. I'll pick up a stick off the floor, poke it through there, and then I tighten that around the tree. Okay, but for now, for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to put that on there. Okay, right, with my other end of my tarp, so that bowline, Marlinespike Hitch #1 adaptation. For my other end, I'm going to you imagine, again, this was another tree that I'd go around. Okay, so I'd go around the tree and bring it back this way, but again, demonstration purposes only, I'm going to go around the little tiny bit here, right? So let's pretend it's gone around my tree for now. All right, what I'm going to do, pop that way, I'm going to grab Marlinespike Hitch by here, so I make a loop, I flop it, that loop I will flop over towards the tree, okay, and pull a piece through and then yank that down so it makes a loop. My Marlinespike Hitch goes tight there, right? Now make sure you keep that loop like this, okay, because if you don't it will just fall apart. Okay, so I loop over towards the tree, pull a piece through and tighten it, and so it's a loop. If I pull it this way it will stay, right? So I go around the tree with my other length, and then from that Marlinespike Hitch I'm going to pass the other end of this cord through, all right, and then this is what's called a trucker's hitch, and it's brilliant for the ridgeline of the tarp in that, if you zoom in on here, right, so I've gone, that's my Marlinespike Hitch with a loop, I've gone through that loop with a piece that I've passed around the tree, and then I'm going to pull back this way, and because it's going back and forth like this, it's like a pulley system in that it will get really quickly and easily. I'm not really doing it that much effort, but that will make this really nice and tight like a bowstring. Okay, so if you can, I don't know if you need to zoom or not, but come in on this bit here and I'll show you how to finish up. Right, obviously if I let go it just loosen off. All right, so I want to pull in, I'm going to just hold for a second that little bit that's coming through here and hold it tightly because it wants to release, and then with that bit I'm going to flop it over. Okay, I'm going to pass a little bit from this loop that's created here, I'm going to pass a piece underneath and through that loop and just pull it towards my little bit there, and I can just let go then, and this will all hold tight. Okay, one quick pull on there and it will come undone. Right, so I'll make a loop that flops, I'll pass underneath, pull that through and hitch it back by there. Now that will hold, but if that gets stepped on, if it's dangling down like now or something, it will undo this knot. So to secure it, if you want to, okay, I make again a little loop over, pull that through, done, and I can pull on that and it won't come undone, and this is super duper taut. Okay, that's my ridgeline. Now look, coming back here, I said it was for a tarp setup. Okay, so now I can pull my tarp out of the bag, all right, and I've cheated. It's always set up. I've got, for a later demonstration, something called a prusik on both ends. Okay, now that's tied to each end of my tarp. All I've got to do is pull my knot out like that on both ends, and what should happen is I can then pull it nice and tight like that, and without knotting, all of a sudden my tarp's going nowhere. Okay, and then off the bottom of there I've got some cords all ready to just peg out. I'll do it quickly and you'll see how quick and easy I can then, I mean you can sleep under this, but I generally set up a hammock, but this will be good for putting all my gear under, keeping everything dry if I wanted to build a campfire or keep, I don't know, anything. It's really good. Okay, one more thing, but I will show you. And again, for a later date, is one that we've mentioned before. Okay, tied on here, once I undo it, there's a clever little knot for already tied on here. I don't know if you can notice, it's a loop and a little knot by here called the taut line. Now the taut line's good in the fact that I can peg it out. Okay, now this is all quite loose, but the taut line again kind of works like the Prusik in that I can pull that guy line suddenly nice and tight, and all of a sudden, if you step back, you've got yourself the quickest little setup shelter, nice and tight. I mean, that is super tight, that ridge line. It's going to go nowhere. Now, Marlinespike hitch, biggest tip is to always carry a little bit of string. Practice that knot, loop, flop it over and pull through, and you've got that Marlinespike hitch. Okay, so loop, flop it over, pull it through, and then pass that end through. All of a sudden, it's not Marlinespike hitch, it's a bowline. Okay, or like we did over that far end, you've got the Truckers hitch, goes from the Marlinespike hitch, pull it through, and so it makes a knot like that, and then the other end passes around the tree, through the thing, and pulleys like that. Now, watch how quick. As a takedown, this Truckers hitch, which has gone super taut, okay, I take off my security loop, one pull, that pops undone, let it go, and it flops down. And watch this bit here, that marlin bit, if I pull on this end, that's on my Marlinespike hitch, my initial bit for the Truckers hitch, pops undone, it's done, it's really quick. Anyway, Marlinespike hitch, well worth it. Done. Stopped.